Coach and the boys team. Good job there, crew. Oh yeah, there's the drone shot. Look at how big that is now.
That is so cool.
And that is something that we do in Ripley. Everywhere you look, there are flags, but that is fantastic work right there by the ball team. Appreciate them being there. Look at that shot. Oh yeah, that's pretty cool.
Spencer, does this qualify as our first tractor right behind the flag?
The John Deere, no, I think that qualifies as the coach has the water in case anybody has some.
Well, you can see the makeshift bridge that the family who lives on the other side of Slaughter Creek had to make just to get across. And they tell me this is really the only way they can get across to go to school, work, or even just to do simple tasks like grocery shopping. And now I was able to get across with the assistance of my photographer earlier today. However, I can tell you it was not easy. And when these wooden pallets that they've used to make the bridge, when they get wet, it is very slippery. And you can just imagine what it's like to walk across this with a handful of groceries. And now residents tell me the bridge connecting Slaughter Creek Drive and Rich Creek Road was washed out 2 weeks ago when floodwaters rushed through Cabin Creek. And at first they were able to walk or drive an ATV across where the water was lower, or in some cases they could use an access road that runs alongside the creek. However, that road is now barely passable, and when it rains it's covered in mud. And I spoke with a family who built the makeshift bridge today, and they say their 10-year-old boy has to wade through the water just to make it across for school every day.
What we've been doing to try to get across the creek is, one, we've walked across it, but my son needs to go to school. So we've been building pallets and cinder blocks to walk across. But when it rains, we have to go dig it all back out of the creek. If not, it's going to wash away.
Now, the family tells me they just want the bridge fixed. However, the question of who is responsible for doing that is what is holding up this entire process. And earlier today, I reached out to the assessor's office, and tax property maps don't explicitly name who is responsible for that bridge just right down the creek that was washed out. However, it does say that a mining company called Black Hawk Land and Resources does own property on both sides of the creek. And I reached out to them today. However, they have not gone back to me. Live in the Slaughter Creek area, I'm Rachel Pellegrino for 13 News.
You have to be stronger probably than you've ever had to be in some respects before.
Floyd County was just one of the affected areas. 35 of their students and 9 staff members in the district were displaced from their homes. Floyd County School Superintendent Anna Shepard says they were lucky nobody lost their life and none of their school buildings were damaged.
It's still hard to even think about all the devastation. In some respects, it seems like it's been years, you know, when I think back, because you just jump into that mode of, you know, everyone did just trying to, you know, make sure everybody's safe.
Floyd County schools, like other districts, delayed their first day of school by 2 weeks to meet the needs of impacted families.
You have to take care of people in these situations, and families and students, that it's bigger than just, you know, teaching them to read and write and do math and you know, the content part.
Well, Pat and Amanda, I actually got a driving tour of 3 Fork Road earlier today from one of the neighbors. I took a ride with them on their ATV, and they showed me about 3/4 of a mile on that road are torn up from the floods, and at least 3 culverts from that road have been washed away from that creek. And many people who live there say that they're stuck.
Are we not important? Do our lives not matter that we can't get help?
The road to recovery after Monday's flooding is proving to be a long one for neighbors on Tree Fork Road. That's because about 3/4 of a mile of road is gone.
The creek started getting up. My wife come in the house. I said, "How's the creek?" She said, "All right." And I could tell the change in it. And I said, "You better go back out there." And they just like a flash flood come down through here.
Now neighbors say they've been stranded in their homes since Monday.
We are trapped. We are literally trapped. We can't get out to get groceries. We can't get to the doctors. We can't do anything.
I'm standing at 3 Forks Road near Seth in Boone County, at least what's left of the road. Take a look around me. This is the aftermath of Monday's devastating flooding. There's only 3 ways in and out of this neighborhood: by all-terrain vehicle, by bicycle, or by foot. And this is why.
The road out through here, there was a river. We are washed out. We have no culverts.
Many homes had their driveways torn out completely, and their only way out of the house is walking down the creek. Now residents along the road are begging for help.
Here at Duff Allen Elementary School, multiple staff members and students were displaced from their homes when the flooding hit last July. Some of them even lost everything that they had. Now, this school was one of the hardest hit schools in all of Floyd County, and now a year later, 2 students that go to this school along with their families are still in need of permanent housing and are being assisted by the district. A year later, Floyd County Schools is still assisting 3 students and their families who still don't have permanent housing. Kristen Taylor, an education coordinator in Floyd County Schools, says it was hard seeing the impact the flooding made on students.
You see it. Their little faces are broken down and they're just trying to keep moving. So you just have to be a little extra support for them then.
Taylor says seeing the trauma students go through while also trying to succeed in school is like nothing she's seen before. Taylor also says from a mother's perspective, it was hard to explain to her daughter what had happened when they lost some of their belongings in the flood.
It was hard, like teaching her how to be resilient during that time.
Her daughter, Catherine Wicker, is a Head Start student at May Valley Elementary School in Floyd County.
Yeah, I looked outside and there was a lot of blood and there was a lot of car heads sticking out. And that's what I saw on the flood.
You're looking at drone footage of what's left of the building as it's being demolished. It's a pretty cool perspective. The store was a staple in the area for over 100 years before closing in the spring. According to the owner, a major reason for the shutdown, unfortunately, because they had trouble bouncing back after COVID.
I spoke with Cody's Aunt Gail earlier, who says Cody loved fighting fires more than anything else in the world. In fact, she said it was Cody's dream to one day go help fight wildfires in California. And last summer, she says he was sent to California for 3 weeks to help, and it was a bucket list item for him to check off. In fact, it was a dream come true. His family adds that Cody had the heart and the bravery of a lion.
And thanks. You see some children there. Look at this image of Sergeant Maynard's casket being brought out. Sky 13 was able to capture this view for us today, and I'll just give you a moment to take in this overwhelming sea of blue and gold and those flashing lights as a very stark reality of this job set in for many people today.